Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Creative Contact with your host, Kia Orion. Thank you so much for tuning in. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And I know it's been a minute. This is going to be quite the update episode. I've got a lot I want to talk to you guys about today. Currently in a new place, but you might recognize this from about a year ago. I was in the same apartment. I'm back in Ciudad de Mexico. And I understand, Kia, hold up. You were just in Portugal, and we were talking about going to Spain. You were talking about getting somebody pregnant. I know. We're going to get to that. I promise. We're going to get to the Europe recap, but there's a lot I want to talk to you about today. This is also for future Kia, because I'm currently in the process of putting together my very first collection of essays and short stories. And I'm almost done. Like 90% done. I've got the cover pretty much ready to go. The title, the subtitle, basically good to go. I've got a bunch of stories right now going through proofreading. I'm like putting the cherry on top of a couple stories that need like just a little bit of a better ending. So we're close. I realize I'm not going to make my January 1st cutoff that I was super stoked about, unfortunately, but as all deadlines go, it would just happen to be a little bit arbitrary anyways. So I said, okay, Kia, because right now, just knowing how long it takes things to the proofreading and everything, it's not going to quite get there, but we're going to be close. I'm going to keep pushing, keep the pedal on the metal like we were, as if we were still able to. But let's back up a little bit. So the Europe shenanigans, I was planning on going to Portugal for a long time and had an opportunity to go to Spain with my homies Ronnie and Diana in Barcelona, and I am working part-time with them for their YouTube channel, which has been awesome, and I'll talk about that another time. But I got to experience Barcelona in my first time really in Spain, and it was unbelievable. I loved it. What a cool city. I felt like I was part like in an art piece, like walking through those streets. It's a beautiful place. I loved it out there. Then I went to Portugal. I started in Porto, and then was there for about maybe I think a little over a week and some change, and then went down to Lisboa, where I have a friend, and she let me stay in her place while she was gone for about 2 weeks. So I had about 3 weeks, almost a month in Portugal in total, and I liked it. I didn't love it, and it's because of, I think, the weather. It was super rainy and cold almost every single day. And so I think that, for me, helped me realize that even if I'm able to pull this whole thing off and get over there, it'll probably be maybe like 8 months of the year, maybe 6 months of the year I'm in Portugal, and then maybe another 6 in Spain or something like that. I'm at that point where I realize that, all right, my whole thesis for this is trying to put down more roots, of realizing I've been nomading for over 5 years. I'm ready to put some roots in, ready to have some more romantic relationships, and we'll talk about that in a little bit too, have some more friends. You've heard me talk about this before. I'm a broken record, but that's kind of my long-term goal. I realize, though, that in order to make this happen, the visa is going to take longer to pull off than I expected initially. And then it's also more expensive than I had thought. And so right now, since I'm only working part-time, I don't have sufficient capital to pull it off. Europe is amazing, but it's expensive. And I realized that after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, this is not quite feasible where I'm at right now, especially with rent. If rent wasn't super crazy, I could pull it off, but rent right now is nuts. So I realized, okay, let me kind of find another base for this year, work on the visa from a distance, stack some cash, and give it a fair shot. I'll probably be able to pull it off, I'm assuming, closer to 2025. So a little bit bummed at first I wasn't able to make that move as quickly as I wanted to. But also realize everything in life, right, takes more time than you think. This collection of short stories, it's crazy. I wrote my very first one. I was going through, just because I've been trying to like rework old stories, see if there were kernels of ideas, like last October. Not like a month ago, October, 2 months ago, but like a year ago. So I've been officially cracking on this project for over a year now. And it's crazy. This is I think it's the hardest I've ever worked on anything, maybe in my life, which is pretty cool. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about that. But needless to say, everything takes longer than you think. I thought I'd be able to rock and roll. I thought I'd be a famous writer by now. So there's that. Not really. But it's all just this constant lesson that you can't force stuff. Excuse me. So that's something I've been learning, is you can't force it, kind of going with this flow of the universe and one step at a time. So I said, okay, I'll take this year. So right now I came back to Ciudad de Mexico porque I love Mexico City. I love Mexico in general. And apologize for if you can hear like the weird stuff going on in the street. But yeah, I'll be here until I'm trying to wrangle my mom into a trip to come down and hang with the boy in early January. And then I've had my eye on Buenos Aires for a long time. And so I think I'm finally going to be able to pull that off. And maybe after experimenting with both of those, maybe choose one for the rest of the year. Maybe I say, okay, I'll put some Buenos Aires for the rest of the year, or maybe Ciudad de Mexico. I still feel torn back to Brazil. Like, I've been wanting to go back there for a hot minute. So who knows what the future holds, but I know that at least right now, next 5-6 weeks, I'm here. I'm sprinting. I'm trying to crank out as much as I can on this book, finish it, and then I'll have this little venture with Ma Dukes, and then I'll jump back in, and I think I'm going to try to record the audiobook, get that going, and then I'm going to just learn how to market it. I'm excited to learn how to do book marketing. So that's kind of my like next year's chapters, like learning how to market. And of course I'll still be writing and stuff, but I'm kind of in this like last dead sprint for this year with the book. And so I want to talk to you about the book, and we'll get there in a second. But just a little bit of life update in Mexico City. It's been good. I've been back, like I said, back here with my man Alejandro. He's the landlord over here. My friend Jess is here, so it's super cool being able to hang with her. And it's cool. I really feel like this city has a lot of potential just because there's so much community. It's easy to get around. Food is right. Weather's right. It's been cold, but I've been rocking and rolling with it. People are super sweet. Like, even my first days back when I was here, I was like, man, like, Europeans are cool. But there's something special about Latin America, that I think is just the attitude of people. I also understand, this is one gringo's experience, but it's just, there's an energy here that I just feel really at home and at peace here, which is nice. So where are we at with life? What is going on? You didn't come to hear about Mexico City. You came here to talk about stories. No, you didn't actually. But here's where Key is at in life. We're going to break things down. We got health, fitness. We got artistic pursuits. We got love and ladies. So health, fitness stuff at first. When I first came back here, I went to the store because I was looking for a pair of pants because I've been in a place where I didn't need pants for a long time because it was so warm. I was only in shorts. I've been rocking shorts, these crazy Vibram shoes that have like the 5 fingers. I'm like super nerdy 5 fingers toes shoes. And I was like, do I need some pants? So I went to go get some pants. And there's something special about being in the changing room because you see all angles of yourself. You normally see like this version of yourself, and that's it. And I saw the back of me, and my calves were so small looking. And I was like, Kia, I had this kind of like come to Jesus moment. I think you have these sometimes where you feel almost like the Rocky music started playing, and I saw my calves, and I was like, Kia, you work out too hard to be this small. I saw myself in the all angles mirror of I was in H&M, and I was like, bro, we really got to step some shit up. I was like, we've been working too hard to be this tiny, and I think part of it is because I love being shredded, especially in these places when you're like in Brazil or out in, you're in this kind of beach culture. I like that I'm always pretty close to getting shredded if I need to be. But it's not like I've been at the beach for a hot second, and I won't be at the beach for a hot second. So I'm like, Kia, what are we trying to keep this 6-pack for? So like, I've got a lady friend right now. Like, let's get big, bro. Let's put some weight on. Let's get beefy. So Rocky music started playing in my head. Saw my little tiny calves, and I was like, this shit's got to change tomorrow. I was like, it's time to take this seriously again. I've been doing like a push-pull leg split for the last 5 years. I've been doing 3 days lifting, 3 days cardio. And I think that works for me. That's sustainable for like life. But I haven't been super inspired. It's been like 3 to 4 exercises at like from like 4 to 8 reps for the most part. Like I said, for a long time, I've been gaining strength, but not really size. And it's because I haven't been really taking the training super seriously. I'll go in, but I'll kind of mail it in. I've been training for a decade now. Same with the food. Like I I don't have to count it anymore, and I can just kind of know what to eat so that I stay trim. But I was like, let's dial it in. It's been a long time since I've taken my weight training seriously and like actually had a goal more than just like stay in shape. So it reminded me of back when I was 23 or 24 when I first learned about counting calories and bulking and cutting. And I got excited again. I was like, I'm going to switch my program up. There's this guy who I really like. He's a business dude, but he also is super into fitness, and he has huge calves, and he talks about them all the time. And I was like, I'm going to just do what this dude does and just take my calories more seriously, make sure I'm eating more. I bought protein powder, creatine. I'm like so into this. And so it's the first time I've been inspired in a long time. It's pretty brutal. Like they're full body workouts every single time, 4 days a week. And it's interesting because I'm just at a point, I'm not sure if it's because I'm at a strange point in my life where I'm kind of letting go of this identity of the rap stuff, or if because it was the change in the city being back here in Mexico, or what it is, but I just feel like I'm in a very mentally flexible type of place where I'm just experimenting with stuff. Like I'm normally like a guy who's super routine, like, and I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm waking up early. I'm going to the gym. I'm coming back, blah, blah, blah. And recently I've been like, how about instead of waking up at like 7, what if we woke up at like 4:30? And rather than going to the gym, what if we woke up at 4 and just like started writing for 6 hours first and then went to the gym at like noon and like tried some stuff like that. Also, I don't normally go out. I was like, let's just try to go out. Like I've just been super mentally malleable right now. And so I have these core principles of what go into training, strength training. And it's normally like train for strength, and you'll add size and like these certain rep ranges and like, how to take rest, like days in between lifting. And instead I'm in this like kind of new phase, and what this guy recommends, he's like, smash it like every day. He's like, this could be the same exact workouts every day. Like, and that's never something I would have done before, is like full body workouts and like the same movement patterns, or like training calves every day. But his whole method is around like volume, and it makes a lot of sense. And so I've been experimenting with it, and it's the first time in a long time I've been like truly inspired to like get after it, go and like smash it. And I haven't been listening to podcasts in the gym because I've been so intently focused on like just getting after it. And same with the food stuff. It's the first time in a long time I've been like created a meal plan and like went through and got my macros and my calories right and everything. And so it's been cool. I'm definitely getting bigger, like chunkier. We'll see after, if I can keep, I'm not sure if it's like super sustainable, but I'll definitely be able to hit this for like the next 6 weeks. And then after my Dukes, I'm planning on like doing it hopefully until like June, and then like reevaluate progress. But I've cut down. I just haven't been super inspired with the boxing stuff lately. So I'll still maybe box like once or twice a week just to kind of keep my cardio okay. But instead, what I've switched out the boxing for has been more like kettlebell training and assault bikes. Like, if you don't know what that is, this is just something I want to talk about real quick. It's those bikes where you like push your arms and your legs at the same time. They're brutal. But when I was in Portugal, there was this gym that had these, I love assault bikes. And because I like those little circuits, you can hit them and you find a different gear in your spirit. Like, you find out what you're made of on those bikes because they are so brutal. And I started really enjoying that, kind of pushing myself to this limit of kind of almost breaking. And I was like, I wonder what would happen if I just went, I just want to see what I'm actually made of. And I like to do this from time to time. Like, sometimes I'll do this in terms of, I think ayahuasca can help you challenge you mentally to do this, emotionally. The Vision Quest I did last year can be one of those things. And that was one where like it broke me, right? The Vision Quest, I made it one day and then bounced. Like I broke. And that to me, I think was really a difficult thing to see, because when push really comes to shove, you only have your own word. And I felt like I couldn't keep my word to myself in that regard. Like, there are other parts of my life where I have been able to, but if there's a little splinter of doubt in there, it fucks with you. And so there's this little thing in there like that I knew that it broke me. And so it's been a year, and it's a very different type of exercise, and I feel like exercise, things challenge you differently. Like, the elements I struggle with compared to things like fasting I can do, or exercising really hard I can do. Depends on what it is. But elements, I found, it's one of my weaknesses, something I want to get better at. But anyways, about the assault bike thing, I was like, let's see what's at the core of Kia. I was like, it's been a year. I pushed myself really hard, but I wanted to see how far I could go. And so I was doing this kind of assault bike workout, killing myself. And it was this beautiful place that I got to where my eyes were closed and I was just like in it doing this fucking assault bike thing, like 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off. And what I found was, this is going to sound super hippy dippy, but if you've ever, I think, pushed yourself, you know what I'm talking about. I got to kind of this like core of myself, and it felt like the eye of Sauron. Like if you've ever said, I don't know, I said that with a Spanish accent, but the eye of Sauron. Like if you've ever seen The Lord of the Rings, it's like this kind of like flame. It's like an orb with like an eye with flames around it. The kind of vision I had when I was on this was not that, but it was kind of close. It also kind of looked like the Touchstone Pictures logo, if you know what I'm talking about. Like when you're watching a movie and it'll be like Touchstone, it's like this little like black orb with like a lightning bolt in it. And I found in myself, there was this, when I was at the core, when I was kind of in this moment of breaking, this kind of, all I can describe is like a very dense black orb that it felt like it had almost like kind of some like sparks around it or something. Like maybe there was some sort of flames or something. It wasn't like on fire or anything, but it felt like there was some sort of incendiary elements. But I found him in the core of myself, this kind of like dark, I can't describe it, but dense. It feels like just like a really dense black orb. And I couldn't break it. And it was cool. Like no matter how hard I pushed myself, this orb, I felt unbreakable. And I felt like deep in my core, that was reassuring to find. I felt like, no, that I could have done this like in perpetuity and I wasn't going to break. This orb was almost me, like at the core. Like if you stripped it down, it's hard to describe, but I just had this, like I said, my eyes were closed. I was like completely dead, but I kept going. And in my mind, all I saw was, and I felt it too. It's like, it's hard to describe. And I know this makes me sound like a crazy person, but that has been really nice to come back to, like that sense of being unbreakable and not in a way that I just say it and think I am, but like can prove it to myself and really feel it. In terms of like whether it's a boxing workout or anything else, I keep coming back to this kind of like black, or I think that's like, it's almost like when you strip it all away, that's just what's left of me, is this kind of like this kind of impenetrable, it's like really heavy. I can't describe it, but I could tell. And that was cool to kind of like see that was still there, because I've believed that. I've known I've had that before, but when you go through things like a vision quest or other experiences, when you quit on yourself, it makes you question if that's what you're really made of anymore. And I think you sometimes have to put yourself in those places just to prove it to yourself. And it's a muscle, right? It's not, like I said, that hasn't always been there. So it was cool to kind of discover that again. So that's like a weird, long-winded way of saying right now I'm super focused on fitness stuff. Your boy's getting big. And it's cool to like to just not give as many fucks about looking good and just trying to like just stay on like my workout shit, eat good, get bigger, get buff, and try to get these fucking calves. My goal is to get to the point where girls don't ask me if I work out, because that'll solve my girls like, oh, do you work out? I want it to just be clear that it's like, I'm doing this for me. I want that to be a guy that you see and you think that guy works out. You don't have to ask him if he works out, because it's just, there's no debate. But it's going to take me a little while to get there. So I'm on this journey, getting buff journey. It's been tough, but it's been cool. The first time I felt this kind of like dialed in and focused in a really long time. And it's good to just be inspired again in that regard. I had to let go of my 6-pack and the idea of having a 6-pack, but that's been kind of nice too. It's just letting go of that vanity a little bit and being like, yeah, let's just get fucking BROLIC, dog. Let's just go for it. So health, fitness stuff, going well. Writing. Like I told you a little bit before, where I'm at, kind of home stretch right now. And I got my beta reader feedback back, which is great. If you were part of that beta reader round, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for reading these. It was really telling because I learned that people either really liked them or they didn't like them or they didn't get it. And I think that was helpful because parsing through feedback, the last thing I'd want is people to kind of just be like ho-hum about it. So that's a good thing. I mean, it's always hard to get critical feedback no matter what, but I know that these aren't the like pinnacle of success, right? I know these aren't like the best stories ever, but the reason it's called the best I can do, because these are the best I can do, but it was cool to see that there was potential, like that some people, they got some laughs. Some of the things people did find interesting to write me and say, hey, these lines made me chuckle or whatever, because they are comedy. That's really what I'm going for. But it helped me understand that I really need to be more clear that they are comedic and that the point isn't to have them be like well thought out character structures and plot summaries, but I'm like, these are just these are dick jokes, dude. Like, imagine these as comedy bits. It made me realize I need to write an author's note at the beginning to be like, these are dick jokes, period. Yes, some of them are like wrapped up with like interesting other stories and whatnot, but like think of them like you would dick jokes. Like, they're not supposed to be Hemingway-esque, fully thought out, fleshed out, perfect character arcs. They're premises that I find that I think are funny and then flesh out with like memories or details and just I try to think of it as a comedy set, except it's through writing rather than stand up. But that's kind of how I think about it. It helped me realize I need to be much more clear that these are comedic and that they aren't for everybody. That I'm not supposed to be for everybody. I have a very unique. That's actually not unique, but I think a very distinct maybe like style of who these are for. And if they aren't for you, you're not going to like them. Same with stand up. Like certain like comedians, you like them or you don't. Very few comedians are like, they're okay. A lot you're like, nah, I don't find them funny. Or you'll be like, yeah, she's hysterical. And so that was really helpful and really telling and inspiring. It also got me excited about getting them out there because I have so many other stories and things I want to write about, but these I know if I don't get them out there, then they're just going to sit on my computer and just like fade away. And I've put so much time and effort into them. I want to get them out there. And so even if they aren't the best thing ever, if they can get somebody to laugh, I'm like, I've done my job. So that's been really cool, is like learning that process of getting feedback, how to ask the right questions, how to take both critical and positive feedback and not let either one sway me too much. I'm still learning how to really dial in what questions I want, because some I realized weren't super helpful. And so that's kind of like this ever evolving process that I think the more that I do these, the more books I make and write and stories I'm able to publish, I'll get better at this process and trust my instincts more. Right now I'm still, as I am flexible, like malleable, mentally, emotionally, whatever right now, I'm also pretty flexible and kind of malleable in this creative stage where I just don't have a concept of what's good or not. Like some of the stuff I thought was hysterical, people were like, yeah, this is trash. And some of the stuff I thought was kind of throwaway, some people really liked. And so that was telling to me as well that I just don't have I haven't made enough of this art to know it well enough yet. And so sometimes it scares me a little bit because I think I might be making a mistake, because I might be like, man, are all of these, am I trash? And people be like, yeah, this is garbage. I'll be like, maybe I am garbage. But there was enough positive like sparks there to get me inspired to say, okay, there's enough here to roll with it, to at least get it out there and keep rocking and rolling with it. So I'm excited about that. I know some people are going to be offended, but the point is that it's all exaggerated. It's all satire. It's all over the top for a reason. So writing's going really well. I've been dedicated it's pretty much been all consuming, to be honest. I haven't been doing a ton else. Like I've been doing my part-time job, working with my friends, Ronnie and Diana. But other than that, it's like writing or working out. I've been like in this kind of zone, pretty intense. So the last kind of bit, Kia's romantic life has been pretty non-existent. But I did go on a date last night, which was cool. And I got back on Bumble. And man, what a strange place. Like online dating is just such a strange thing where I think part of it is I know what I want now, but like in terms of like a partner, a long-term partner, but because I'm still a little bit transient, I still fall prey to like the physical allure piece of it. And so that's been really interesting, is trying to, those apps, like rarely do I ever feel good about myself on those apps. But in real life, I feel like that it's unfortunate that I don't go out at night, because I feel like I do much better with women. But I'm like, I'm not a night dude, so let me shoot some shots during the daytime. And so in Portugal, I approached very few people, but there was one girl in the gym in Portugal that I was obsessed with in Lisbon. She had like my perfect body. She was almost like part horse. Like her legs were like so thick, and she was jacked, dude. She was jacked. And so the last day there, I'd been keeping like, Key, you should talk to her. So the last day I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll just try to get her Instagram. And so I'm on the assault bike again, different time than the black dense orb time, but I'm doing my assault bike workout. I see her and I'm like, okay. I'm like, there's Shorty. I was like, let me finish this up and I'll go talk to her. I'm like, I hit my assault bike. I look over, she's gone. I was like, no. I felt like I disappointed myself. I was like, no matter what had happened, I was like, I wish that I just had shot my shot, you know? So I was kind of bummed. And then she came back. I was like, okay, Kia, scrap this assault bike workout. I need to just go get an Instagram while I can. I pop off the bike. I like put my hat on. I'm like, I got to get my shit right. You know what I mean? I'm sweaty. I look fucking weird. I'm in the gym, but I got to get right. I go over, I talk to Shorty. I can barely talk to her because she's Brazilian. And so my Portuguese is trash. Like, especially because I've been down this European Portuguese thing. And so, but anyways, I shoot my shot. I get her Instagram and I shoot her a message. She responds once with a message that just says, oi, just OI with an emoji. And that's it. It doesn't even count as a word. She texts me 2 letters. And then I write her back and she never writes me back again. But I was proud of myself. I've started thinking about this like writing. The same way where it's like, if I can show up every day, that's the key. It's like, do I show up? Yes or no. It's binary. Whether I write the next great American novel, whether I make trash and nothing happens great that day, it's like, did I show up? And so I've taken that same approach with women, is like, did I shoot my shot? Yes or no. Whether I get rejected, whether anything happens from it, I need to just like I just need to let that part go, because that's the part that can fuck with you mentally. And so I just started shooting shots. And I was, again, another time actually when I was in Portugal, I was on this ferry. I was going between the river, and I was on this ferry, and I've started to get to this point where, because online dating for me has been so abysmal, that I'm starting to just try to shoot more shots in real life. And I have an uncle who met his wife on the train in Italy. She didn't speak any English. He didn't speak much Italian, but he met her on the train. They have like 3 beautiful kids now, I think. And so anyways, I'm coming back. I'm on this ferry. I bought groceries. I'm wearing my fucking Vibram 5-finger toes shoes. I look trash, but I'm kind of out of it too. I hadn't slept well, so I'm kind of like in this like weird liminal state between like dreams and real life. And there's this girl sitting like 2 seats down from me on this ferry, and she's cute, but she's like laughing to herself. She just seems like a rad vibe. And in my mind, now that I've been out and about, I'm starting to think like, I just imagine my future with these people. This is going to sound so crazy, but I'll be like, are you my wife? Like in my mind, I'll be like, maybe this is the person I spend the rest of my life with. Who knows? And so I'm like, yeah, well, I got to talk to her. So we get off the ferry. She's like laughing to herself. I approach her and I just chat with her. We chat for a second. She's also Brazilian, but she spoke English. And so we chatted a little bit on Instagram. Nothing ever happened from it. But that's been kind of my goal now, is like, let me just shoot shots. And did I shoot my shot? Yes or no? That's it. Like, that to me is like feeling like a success. Whether or not anything happens, whether or not the girl rejects me, is just to like get more comfortable talking to women in public, making friends with strangers. And that, I think, to me has been much more of an enjoyable adventure than the online dating, because there's a vibe. Even if they reject me, like, I still, make a new friend. And so at the gym now here in Mexico, I've been like, hey, what's up? Shot some shots. And it's been cool. Like, even if girls like, no, I don't get my Instagram, or no, I'm not, I'm not single, then like I'll see them at the gym, and now like have a new friend I can like give a fist bump to or something. It never ends poorly. It always ends well, even if nothing happens, which is nice compared to like the strange, like graveyard ghosting land of online dating that just feels like this kind of strange, like I'm never good enough. There's like this real feeling of inadequacy I feel like I get from online dating that for some reason I don't get in person. If I get shot down in person, I'm like, cool. It's strange. It's a different thing where I feel like online dating is more, like my ego is more tied into it for some reason. I'm not sure why, but that has been an interesting sort of thing. Is I've been feeling, especially I think lately, compelled, because I know that that's a lacking area of my life, that I need to build that muscle again. Just going on more dates, meeting more women, just to like build that again. And so I had a date last night that was good. She was super sweet, wasn't physically super into it, but we'll see if maybe something happens there. I went on another date like maybe last week, and I realized this is why you got to go on dates, because it's like, it sounds terrible, but it's kind of like sales. Like you have to, it's only through trial and error you figure out what works. And I realized that this girl, she's like 25. She's gorgeous, but she did not like it that I said that I had an old soul. I was like, no, like, I was like, soy un viejito, which is like, I'm a little old man. I'm a little viejito because I go to bed early and stuff. And she was just like so over it. We were not compatible at all. That like date crashed, but she was, like I said, I still shot my shot too, but that I can tell, like, when, like certain things, like I probably shouldn't say I'm a little old man anymore. Girls, it hasn't gone over. Like, girls don't tend to be like, ooh, tell me more about that. Like, girls don't like when I say I'm an old man, but that's how I play it. I just kind of let it all hang out, but I realized I can still be Kia and be honest about who Kia is, but still package Kia in a way that people might actually want to be my friend. I might still have a chance. I just got to package Kia in the right way. I need to learn how to market Kia so that people like me, because telling the truth obviously hasn't been working. But I think that that's kind of the beautiful thing, is it's like, the same with my book, is it's like you kind of self-select as is. I think if I was more desperate for sex, like I have in the past, I would like convolute myself more to morph into this thing that girls want, so I could try to get them into bed. But instead, I'm not that desperate where it's like I'm just being super Kia with it. And I know from past experience, like, the right people that will resonate with, but it's not for everybody. Same with my book, right? I'm self-publishing it, so it's the same reason. Like, I'm going, the cover looks super cool, but it's bold, it's weird, it's different. The letters feel like they're almost like falling off the page. I'm not calling them short stories or essays. I'm coming up with like my own. I mean, it's going to be like satire, or like I'm trying to like brand it to just be its own thing. So that way it's just very much, I'm putting my stake in the ground, whether it's the writing, whether it's Kia as a partner, or even as a one night stand. I'm like, this is what what you're getting into, right? It's like, this is what it is. But that also means learning how to be human, I think, and that does take some finesse of how to present yourself in a way that is, respectable and acceptable, and that people to understand at least the human dynamics there, so that I can kind of put that mask on if I need to in those social situations, or depending on, wants and needs. So anyways, that's my little update. For now, I'm going to get back to cranking on this book. In Mexico, eating tacos, trying to get buff, wearing fucking Vibram 5-finger shoes that look weird, and I'm just leaning into the weirdness, dude. I realized I was thinking about that. It needs to be a story too. At some point, you just give up and on caring as much, and just lean into the weirdness. And I'm looking forward to finding the people that are down to lean into that with me. But you gotta have a dense black orb in your heart of hearts, because it's not an easy path. So anyways, y'all, definitely back in Mexico. Thanks for rocking and rolling with your boy. If you made it this far, you're a real one. You already know what it is. Hold that thought. If you want the book for free, I'm happy to give it to you for free. When it's done, all you got to do is let me know. It's going to be free for friends and family, just because I'm excited to get it out there, get people reading it, get people laughing, smiling, trying to bring a little bit of joy and humor into this world. And I think we need that right now. So if you want to laugh, if you think this might be your style, let me know. I'd be happy to send you a copy when it's ready to rock and roll. Appreciate y'all. I'll check you in the next one. Peace.